You've been looking outside for signs, for permission, for miracles, but the truth has always been closer, closer than your breath, closer than your fear. Act as if God is within you, because when you do, everything changes, not tomorrow. Now, you are not created empty. You are created aware of right and wrong, aware of truth and illusion, aware of something greater, watching quietly. That awareness is not random. It is not coincidence. It is the whisper of the divine within you. Most people ignore it. They silence it with noise, with scrolling, with comparison, with excuses. But you feel it, that pull inside your chest, that pressure when you lie to yourself, that calm when you choose what is right. That is not weakness. That is guidance. Act as if God is within you, and your choices become sacred. You stop asking, what will people think? You start asking, is this aligned with truth? You stop chasing validation. You start honoring responsibility. Because when God is within you, every action matters. Every word carries weight. Every thought becomes a seed. You cannot hate yourself. When you believe the divine lives inside you, you cannot live small. When eternity is watching from within, most people wait for God to fix their life. They wait for signs. They wait for ease. They wait for comfort. But faith was never passive. Faith was always movement. Act as if God is within you and move like it. Speak with integrity, even when lying is easier. Walk away from sin. Even when it feels good, choose discipline. Even when comfort calls louder, because God within you does not negotiate with fear. Fear is external. God is internal. You feel fear in your stomach. You feel God in your conscience. Fear shouts. God whispers, and whispers require silence. That is why stillness scares people, because in silence truth speaks. Sit alone long enough, and you will hear it. Not in words, in knowing, a quiet certainty. A calm correction, a firm direction. Act as if God is within you, and you stop running from silence. You stop escaping yourself, because yourself becomes holy ground. This is not about ego. This is not about superiority. This is about responsibility. If God is within you, then your body is a trust. Your time is a trust. Your talent is a trust. You waste less. You respect more. You stop poisoning your mind with negativity, with lust, with envy, because you would not defile a temple. So why defile yourself? Act as if God is within you, and self-respect becomes natural. You don't need motivation. You don't need pressure. You move differently because you believe differently. People will notice, not because you preach, but because you are grounded, calm in chaos, steady in storms, unshaken by noise. Because when God is within you, you are never alone. Loneliness is a lie. We tell ourselves, when we forget who we carry, you are not empty, you are not abandoned, you are not unseen. You are being watched from the inside. That awareness alone changes behavior. You don't cheat when you feel watched internally. You don't betray when your conscience is alive. You don't quit when purpose burns quietly in your chest. Act as if God is within you, and excuses lose power. You stop blaming childhood. You stop blaming people. You stop blaming timing. You start owning your path. Because if God trusted you with life, then you are capable of carrying it. This is where strength begins, not in muscles, not in money, in alignment. When your actions match your values, when your words match your beliefs, when your inner voice matches your outer life, that is peace, not comfort. Peace. Comfort is temporary. Peace is stable. Act as if God is within you. And you stop begging life to be easy. You ask to be stronger, clearer, more disciplined, because deep down, you know comfort never built greatness. Pressure did. Responsibility did. Awareness did. God within you is not here to spoil you. It is here to shape you, to refine you, to sharpen you. Fire does not destroy gold. It reveals it, and life will apply pressure again and again. The question is not, why is this happening to me? The question is, what is this shaping me into? Act as if God is within you, and suffering gains meaning. Pain becomes a teacher. Failure becomes feedback. Delay becomes preparation. Nothing is wasted. When awareness is present, most people break under pressure because they believe they are alone. But you are not. The strength you seek is already installed. You just haven't activated it. Activation comes through belief, through action, through alignment. Act as if God is within you, and courage rises naturally. Not loud courage, quiet courage, the courage to say no, the courage to wait, the courage to walk alone. When the crowd chooses shortcuts, this is how leaders are formed, not by popularity, by principle. You do not need to announce your faith, live it. You do not need to convince others, become evidence. When people ask, how are you so grounded? You won't have to answer, your life will. When you act as if God is within you, your walk changes. Not faster, not louder, stronger. You stop chasing people, you stop proving yourself, you stop begging for approval, because you already feel complete. Most insecurity comes from forgetting this truth. People feel small because they feel separate, disconnected, unseen. But when God is within you, you are always seen, always guided, always supported, even in silence, especially in silence. That is why solitude becomes powerful, not scary. You stop fearing being alone. You start fearing being distracted because distraction numbs the inner voice, and numbness leads to mistakes. Act as if God is within you, and attention becomes sacred. You guard what you watch, what you hear, what you consume, because everything you take in shapes what comes out. A polluted mind cannot produce pure action. That is not punishment. That is law. So you become selective, not arrogant, intentional. You don't argue with everyone. You don't explain yourself to everyone. You don't react to everything, because inner authority does not need external validation. You start moving with calm certainty. People may misunderstand you. Let them. Misunderstanding is cheaper than self-betrayal. Act as if God is within you, and you stop compromising your values for temporary comfort. You stop doing things just to belong, because you already belong to something higher. This belief removes desperation. Desperation clouds judgment. Clarity restores power. You begin to notice something else. Your intuition sharpens. You feel when a path is wrong. You sense when a person is off. You know when to walk away. Not through logic, through alignment. That inner resistance you feel before a bad decision, that is not fear, that is protection. Ignore it, and life teaches you the hard way. Honor it, and you avoid unnecessary suffering. Act as if God is within you, and obedience becomes wisdom. Not blind obedience, inner obedience. You obey truth, not impulse. Impulse wants now. Truth wants forever. This is why discipline matters. Discipline is not restriction. It is devotion. You wake up when it's hard. You work when it's boring. You stay consistent when results are invisible. Why? Because you know someone within you is watching, not to judge, to guide, not to shame, to strengthen. This awareness builds integrity. You do the right thing, even when no one will ever know, especially then, because character is built in private. Act as if God is within you, and shortcuts lose appeal. You understand that what comes fast leaves fast. You choose growth over applause, depth over speed. While others rush, you build roots. Roots are invisible, but they decide everything. When storms come, shallow people fall. Rooted people stand. Life will test you, not once, repeatedly, with money, with desire, with power, with loneliness. And each test asks one question. Who are you when no one is watching? Act as if God is within you. And your answer becomes consistent. You don't become perfect. You become honest. You catch yourself sooner. You correct yourself faster. You forgive yourself properly, because guilt without growth is just another trap. Growth requires awareness, not self-hatred. You're not evil. You're learning. And learning requires humility. When God is within you, arrogance fades. You realize how much you don't know, how much you still need to improve. That realization does not weaken you. It grounds you. You stop pretending. You stop performing. You start becoming people who perform burnout. People who become last act as if God is within you. And patience becomes easier, not because waiting is fun, but because waiting has purpose. You understand timing. You stop forcing doors. You stop rushing outcomes. You prepare while you wait. You sharpen while you wait. You grow while you wait. Because delay is not denial. It is development. What arrives before you are ready becomes a burden. So you thank life for every pause, for every not yet. Because deep down, you trust the process. Trust is not passive. It is active surrender. You still work. You still strive. You still aim high. But you release anxiety. Because anxiety assumes you are alone. Faith assumes you are supported. Act as if God is within you, and worry loses control. You still plan, but you don't panic. You still care, but you don't collapse. Because whatever happens, you know you will respond with strength. Not because life is easy, but because you are prepared internally. This inner preparation is what separates stable people from emotional chaos. Chaos reacts. Stability responds. You choose response. You breathe before speaking. You think before acting. You reflect before deciding. That pause is where wisdom lives. Act as if God is within you, and that pause becomes natural. You stop saying everything you feel. You stop doing everything you think. You filter, not repression, refinement. You become intentional, and intention is power directed. When you act as if God is within you, life becomes serious, not heavy, meaningful. Stop wasting days. You stop delaying growth. You stop living on autopilot because every moment feels counted, not in fear, in purpose. You realize time is not infinite. It is entrusted, and what is entrusted must be honored. You begin each day differently, not rushing, not complaining, aware that how you show up today matters more than what you plan tomorrow. Small actions become sacred. How you speak to people, how you treat strangers, how you react under stress. Because divinity is not proven in comfort, it is revealed under pressure. Anyone can be calm when life is easy. Alignment is tested in difficulty. Act as if God is within you, and responsibility replaces entitlement. You stop asking, what do I deserve? You ask, what am I called to do? That shift changes everything. Entitlement weakens the soul. Responsibility strengthens it. You stop blaming life. You stop accusing fate. You stop waiting for rescue. You stand up because if God trusted you with challenges, then you are capable of carrying them. This belief removes victimhood. You don't see obstacles as punishment. You see them as assignments. Each challenge shapes you. Each setback teaches you. Each loss refines you. Nothing is random. When awareness is alive, act as if God is within you, and gratitude deepens. Not fake gratitude, real gratitude. Gratitude for lessons, for redirections, for closed doors, because some do. Ours close, to protect you, others close, to prepare you. Either way, you grow. You stop begging life to be fair. You start becoming stronger. Fairness does not build greatness. Growth does. And growth requires honesty. You face yourself, your weaknesses, your habits, your excuses, not to shame yourself, to improve yourself. You stop hiding from who you are. You start working with who you are. That is maturity. Act as if God is within you, and humility becomes natural. You don't see yourself above others. You don't see yourself below others. You see yourself responsible for yourself. Comparison fades, because comparison distracts from purpose. Everyone has a different path, a different pace, a different test. You stop racing people and start mastering yourself. Self-mastery is the highest form of power. A person who controls their reactions cannot be controlled by others. A person who knows their values cannot be manipulated. That is freedom, not doing whatever you want, doing what aligns. Act as if God is within you, and alignment becomes your compass. When confused, you return inward. When hurt, you return inward. When successful, you return inward, because pride pulls outward and ego seeks applause. But wisdom stays centered. You learn to lose without bitterness. You learn to win without arrogance. Balance replaces extremes. You become steady. People trust steady people. Life rewards steady people because consistency builds credibility, and credibility opens doors. That fork, you never could. Act as if God is within you, and your life becomes quiet strength. You don't need to announce your discipline. Results will. You don't need to defend your faith. Your behavior will. You don't need to prove your worth. Your presence will. There is a calm confidence that comes from inner alignment, not loud, not flashy, unshakable. Even when things fall apart, you remain whole because your foundation was never external. Money can come and go. People can leave. Plans can fail. But what is built within you stays. That is true security. Act as if God is within you, and fear loses its grip. You still feel fear, but it no longer controls you. You move forward anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is obedience despite it, and obedience creates momentum. One right choice leads to another. Momentum builds identity. You become someone who can be trusted by others, by life, by yourself. That trust is priceless, because self-trust is the foundation of peace. Act as if God is within you, and peace becomes your default, not happiness. Peace. Happiness depends on events. Peace depends on alignment. When alignment is present, you can face anything. This is the invitation, not to escape the world, but to engage it consciously, to walk with awareness, to speak with intention, to live with integrity. You were never meant to live empty. You were meant to live aligned. So act as if God is within you, because when you do, your life becomes the proof